Good morning. Let's take a look at some of yesterday's green screens. My apologies for a shortened live stream yesterday, completely out of my control. The OBS software I use for streaming decided to disconnect all of a sudden without telling me. Very nice of it as well. It was a very good live stream as well. We were knocking it out of the park, picking some really good matches and focusing primarily on the big boys. So let's have a look in the Premier League. I gave you a 1-2 and a 2-1 scoreline here. Why? At 0-1. Why? Because that would cover the next team to score. And it just occurred after Tottenham had a goal scrubbed off. So I thought that was a little bit of momentum from them. Manchester United do have 2 goals in the locker. So those of you who laid Tottenham at 1.06, you are absolutely inspired. Well worth doing this particular post-Champions League weekend, which saw a number of major teams dropping points, crucially. And they all have one thing in common: post-European club competition, pre-international break. Bayern Munich, another to yield a 2-2 scoreline. They were dropping down like flies yesterday, very vulnerable. Everton and Fulham, I called this one correct, but there was no trading angle. The trading angle, I think, would have been a 0-0 at half-time, or if Fulham had scored first, because they've had trouble even scoring. And Everton in decent nick, particularly when Jack Grealish is working. West Ham and Burnley. Good result this if you took on Burnley. I was umming and ahhing about taking on Burnley. I like Nuno Espirito Santo. I should have stuck to my guns and followed my instinct there, because he is a decent manager and he really gets these sides tightening up. And you can see the results now. So that would have been a good play there. Sunderland and the Arse. Well, 1-2 to Arsenal late on, but Sunderland reverting back to their 2 goals a game at home. Really good result, that one. Nice and simple. Make sure you get your insurance done. Get out at 1-2 to the Arsenal. That was the crucial decision for me. Getting out. Lock it in. And what happens thereafter doesn't matter. And you must be careful post-Champions League pre-international break for these cock-ups late on. Juventus and Torino. Well, we'll get to that. That's a Turin derby. Chelsea and Wolves again. No trading angle at all. Rudderless Wolves, having trouble even scoring, are going straight back down to the Championship, I'm afraid. Particularly if the rumours are right and they bring Ten Hag in. I mean, you might as well bring Wayne Rooney in. He'll guarantee you relegation, as he has done with many sides in his managerial career. Championship, not really doing much in the Championship yesterday, and it was a bit blunted by me losing my OBS software signal for the live stream. So that knocked me off a bit, because we did have a couple of 0-0s at half-time that were potentially vulnerable second half. I'm not sure if Coventry was a 0-0 at half-time, but it was flagged up by Bosun in the live stream. My apologies to him for not following that up. Just got done. Southampton, 1.41 favourite. Redemption match for them. And he's got his big power tools out. So I'm just going to close the window. Yes, you've got power tools. Congratulations, mate. All right, I've banished the power tool man. We can enjoy his power tools in relative peace. So not much doing for me yesterday. I did give Millwall a call. I thought at home they would be more robust. A goal down to Preston North End, but very quiet because of our major focus on the elites. Bradford and Burton and 0-2, you could have possibly taken that on. I gave a couple of really good calls yesterday, particularly 0-2 entry points. If you're going to be playing these lower tiers, play 0-2 entry points. And there was a great one with Accrington and Chesterfield. Another gentle reminder to you as well to cash out, lock it in. It was a good trading match. Look, we've got a 1.68 home favourite. That should immediately have you salivating. We've got one of the Waltons. Hi, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob. So nice to see the Waltons coming out and getting a couple of goals there yesterday. That is your entry point. regardless of the league. Okay, it's a dodge pot league, so do write off your liability. Laying, well, you can't cover a 0-2 because you'll have to cover the 1-2 and the 2-2. So you either go naked, so to speak, lay Accrington in the match odds, back Chesterfield without insurance, sit back and hope for the best. And indeed, that's what we've got. I think it was another screenshot that I didn't save, like the St Johnston one. Apologies for that. I just lost my connection and I couldn't actually get in to this. Being in Thailand, I can't have access to gambling websites without a virtual private server. So a very good trading match. First cash out opportunity indeed was before half time because the market's thinking they've got a whole half now, these 1.68 favs, to get the job done. Bonis turning up for a 2-2. Did you stay in? Way up the amount of time left in a match, whether this 1.68 can deliver. And indeed, Barry McNally turning up with a 3-2, and that's your out. Okay? Because if you cash out here, all of this is noise. It doesn't matter. Okay? But a great result for Accrington Stanley with the 3-3. This is a very good trading match. 0-2 entry point is to be highly recommended if you can find them. There's plenty of them yesterday in the lower tiers. Some of these post-Champions League pre-international sides are going to cock it up. Monaco, Arsenal, Dortmund. Well, we know all about Dortmund, though. Their single goal habit costing them yesterday against Hamburger equalising late on. Bayern Munich 2-2. So it was an epidemic yesterday of struggling post-Champions League pre-international. Something has to give, and indeed it did, as you can quite clearly see there. Marseille are turning out to be bankers when they are at home, just delivering consistently. Le Havre could have played this one, 0-1 Nantes lead. If you read the research, you'll know Le Havre have been in pretty decent nick at home. A couple of 1-0s as well, but potential to equalise, which indeed they did as well. Elsewhere, in the German Bundesliga yesterday, lay the draw second half if you fancied it. I was a little lukewarm because it's post-Champions League. Union Berlin, if you took them on. We did that trade yesterday, but again, I don't think I recorded it. No, my apologies. The Bayern Munich Union Berlin one. I was just put off by losing my OBS software, so I wasn't quite on my game. I tend to record my screenshots like this, or the green screens like this, so they are on this table to show you. Oh, here it is, Union Berlin and Bayern Munich. There we go, good stuff. But I didn't get the match odds section, so that's your usual insurance. Laying under 2.5 goals covers any scoreline at 1-1 or 2-0. Okay, and then you sit back and you wait. Bayern Munich did make it 2-2, so got a profit on the draw there. West Ham and Burnley, did we play this one? Must have played this one. Yeah, well, no, this was the insurance. Took the insurance out immediately at the 0-1 to Burnley because I was in two minds about whether to take on West Ham. I should have done, really, shouldn't I? Got to follow my instincts. And rather like teams who you can rely upon, there are certain managers I think you can rely upon. Nuno Espirito Santo seems to be one of those who produces very disciplined, defensively led sides who tend to grind out some decent results. I do like a Nuno side, particularly at home. So Germany, a little bit quiet yesterday. Very much both teams to score angle. Another 3-1 win for the Hoff. As I've repeated, it is one of the signs of the apocalypse. So get your affairs in order, please. It is the end times when Hoffenheim are consistently winning 3-1. It's just scary, actually. Como and Cagliari. There was always the problem that Cagliari could park the bus. Yet another lay over 0.5 goals. Disappointing to drop 3 points for Roel Perry yesterday. And during the live stream, I did show you how to manage your lay the draws if it's not going your way. You've got two options. You could lay over 0.5 goals at the start of the second half. That covers the 0-0. And then you can sit on it and wait. Okay, and then you can lay the draw with a full liability later on at lower odds. For example, here you would have made an absolute fortune had they got a late goal, and you'd have laid the draw at something like 1.2 with your full liability. Lecce Verona wouldn't have laid the draw there, certainly. This is a derby, Juve and Torino. Big surprise, really, but it's post-Champions League, pre-international. Yet another one of those groups. And yet again, AC Milan. If Parma are scoring 2 goals against you, you're having an off day. How many of these sides cocked it up yesterday? How many of these sides were involved in the Champions League? How many of these sides have international players awaiting? It's a real problem, isn't it? But no one seems to, it doesn't seem to click with anyone when these sides are underperforming. It's purely down to this particular weekend. Eredivisie, I don't think there was any plays for me yesterday there. No, it was a tough old coupon, wasn't it? Scottish Championship, I called St Johnstone right. One of those teams, and old Desmond was out and about yesterday, wasn't he, old Desmond Tutu? Up and about everywhere. Must have had a private jet. This was a great play. Ticked all the boxes. We've got a lead for Dunfermline. We've got a newly relegated side loving it in the lower tier. We've got them equalising before half-time for your first cash-out opportunity. Second cash-out opportunity, didn't have to wait long. A 1-2, and they did really turn up stats-wise. That's when you get out, okay? You don't squabble. You're here to play the 1-0 to 1-2, and then you get the bleep out of dodge. That way, you avoid any potential late hiccups from Mr. Todd. Okay? That's the epitome of trading. Lock it in. You don't need the final result. It's what happens in play. You can be done and dusted with 23 minutes remaining. 24 minutes remaining. Nice and simple one with Atletico Madrid to lay that draw at 1-1. Ultra reliable at home. They really are. Famous last words, of course, on a post-Champions League pre-international break. Really, away from home is where they've been dropping their points, which has probably cost them a title push. But at home, they keep delivering. And that's your trading angle. Particularly, I said, I think in the live stream, something like 64th minute or 65th minute, they'd start getting going. And 61st minute. This is what they do on the hour mark. When the cavalry are required, on they come and on they deliver. It's just a consistent thing that Diego Simeone does, and Antoine Griezmann ending up being the difference, quite simply. So let's have a look at today's trading angles, bearing in mind how many of these European sides cocked it up yesterday with late concessions, and how many 2-2s did we see yesterday? Is that going to continue today? I've been talking about old reliables. Midtjylland could be one. Vejla over 2.5 goals could be one. Playing FC Copenhagen post-Champions League pre-international break. Watch out. Could underperform, but we should be seeing over 2.5 goals in this Vejla match. And Midtjylland tend to be very, very reliable, doing a great number in Europe as well. In the Premier League today, Aston Villa against Bournemouth. Watch out. It's a tough market today. 2.3 the favourite. 2.5 the favourite. Won't even research. 2.25 the favourite. 2.3 the favourite. A very difficult old coupon today. Bournemouth have only lost to, I think, these two. Man City and Liverpool. So they are in really decent nick. Hard team to beat. But they are conceding 2 goals away. And Aston Villa are on 3 consecutive home wins and are returning to their 2-goal habit as well. Fascinating match. Could see both teams to score here. And with only the big guns beating Bournemouth, they can't be discounted. Aston Villa's newfound form is post-European. That could be their undoing today, the fatigue element. Brentford and Newcastle, I'm not even going to research this one for you. 2.5 the favourite. It could be absolutely anything. It's as simple as that. Newcastle are underperforming recently, Single goal hauls only are costing them. I think the post-Champions League, or the Champions League, is playing with their domestic form around the competition. So we could see an underperformance from Newcastle today against the Bees. Crystal Palace and Brighton. It's a derby of sorts. Palace are unbeaten at home, scoring 2+ goals. Brighton's only clean sheet came in their last match. Brighton's only away win was against Chelsea, so I don't know if they're treating these matches like derby matches, but we will see. Crystal Palace's 2-goal habit is a very good foundation, but this is post-European club competition and pre-international. Now they've got international players in the squad. Could be affecting Palace today, but they do have that goal threat, which I like to see. Nottingham Forest against Leeds. I'm not going to be researching this. New manager for Nottingham Forest. It's all a matter of seeing how Sean Dyche delivers. Leeds, newly promoted against new manager. No research. Okay. Man City and Liverpool, derby-style match. No research. I know you're itching for angles in because it's on the telly and it's a big match, but I'm afraid this is absolutely wide open. The problem we have again is that both of these two sides in their last match suddenly looked like their old selves, which makes this one even more intriguing today. But I can't play derby style matches. I can't give you any angles. You'll see historically the results are difficult to get. For example, Atletico Madrid 5, Real Madrid 2 in a Madrid derby from out of nowhere. French League. So the teams you've got to worry about today, post-European, Paris Saint-Germain, Strasbourg involved in Europe. I think Nice were involved in Europe. So watch out for some underperformance, particularly from Paris Saint-Germain today. They have had a strong under 2.5 goal bias, so they could just limp over the line here today, or they could struggle. 2.55 the favourite says leave that alone. 2.6 says leave it alone. 2.4 says let's not focus too much on France today. Very difficult on paper. Freiburg against St. Pauli, post-European club competition for Freiburg, post-European for Stuttgart, who got 2 goals against Feyenoord midweek. That should serve them very well today, unless they're fatigued. Mainz and or Frankfurt, both involved in Europe. So this is clouded. The form lines are clouded, but Stuttgart ordinarily 2+ goals in them would certainly be top of the tree here today. St. Pauli are looking like a newly promoted side of a couple of seasons ago. The wheels have fallen off, I'm afraid. Where we used to rely on them for goals, they're just not turned up. So they look very vulnerable today. In Italian Serie A, our Atalanta post-European club competition, pre-international. It's the only way that Sassuolo can get them, I think, today. Bologna and Napoli, derby-style match for me. 2.55 the favourite. 2+ goals in Bologna. Napoli, 0-0 against Como recently, can be kept quiet by the right team. Fascinating match. Market's too scared to make a play here. Two sides in woeful form. But Genoa suddenly winning since Patrick Vieira left. 2.88 the favourite. Relegation 6-pointer. Belaying the late draw here. Roma looking excellent this season. Under new management, really tightening the ship. All wins bar 3 1-0 defeats. So if Udinese do score today, Udinese are layable. And Inter against Lazio, derby style match. La Liga today, Atletico Bilbao. This is a redemption style match for them. Post Europe could see them fatigued, but they are playing newly promoted. And they've only had 1 win in something like 6 or 7 matches. Awful stuff from Bilbao. Putting in good performances, but not necessarily winning. Chance for them today. Post-European club competition could spell trouble for Real Madrid. That's the only 2 standouts for me. Barcelona, Celta Vigo. Watch out for the 1-1 sequence at home for Celta Vigo. Barcelona, the last time it was post-Champions League pre-international break, they decided to lose 4-1 to Sevilla. So watch out. Fascinating match, this one. Could see both teams to score. A quick look at some XG analysis. What I would immediately notice here is Barcelona's ability to score or create enough chances for 2, maybe 3 goals a game, and Celta Vigo's porous defence giving sides a chance to create enough chances for 2 goals a game. This could spell trouble if Barcelona perform today. Could be another one of those post-Champions League horror shows. A great configuration. Screams out 2-1, doesn't it? Creating enough chances for 2 goals a game against a defence giving sides enough chances for 2 goals a game. Lightweight up front, anything under 1, and they're in trouble. So this has got 2-0, 2-1 written all over it, hasn't it? Well, looking at the expected goals in this particular match, Inter Milan and Lazio, which is a derby-style match, too tough for me to call. The advantage is with Inter Milan, with their expected goals defence of less than 1, which means it's going to be very tough for sides to score 2 goals against them today. And indeed, their offence, 2.41 expected goals, is up there with Barcelona et al. So they've got a real goal threat as well. But don't forget, this is post-Champions League. This is the time these sides cock it up. That's probably be the last live session. I'm not doing a live stream, but Telegram session for me for a while with the international break. Make sure you subscribe. We'll be doing some tutorials. I tend to create some tutorials during the international break, so subscribe to YouTube. And it is a good time to get involved in football with 10, 11 matches under our belts. Plenty of form lines and our old reliables delivering. So there's a 14-day free trial if you'd like to take it. And the e-letter we sent out yesterday with all of the Premier League and some added research from other leagues as well. Have a great Sunday. I'll see members throughout the day. And that's it. Watch out for the post-Champions League pre-international break malaise that's hitting all of these big boys, particularly with Desmond Tutu turning up everywhere.